Welcome to a CNBC Africa special. I'm Ridhima Shukla, and we're speaking to Dr. Uwamariya Valentine, the Minister of Education, Government of Rwanda. Thank you for taking the time out to speak to us.
Thank you.
How would you describe the status, the condition of quality of education in Rwanda today?
Quality of education in Rwanda, I may say that it is on the right path because so much has been done in the past years when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to human development, when it comes to the number of teachers recruited, the curricula we have today, which is competence-based curricula. So I may say that we are on the right path, even though we still have gaps to be filled. But that is why in Rwanda Vision 2050, the aim is to improve the quality of education because much was invested into infrastructure, in human capital development. Now the emphasis is on the quality. And today we have what we need as basic requirements to really reach the quality we want in education.
In Rwanda, the government is aiming towards moving a knowledge-based economy. What kind of reforms over the last decade do you feel have had the most impact in driving that change?
I think we cannot talk about reforms as such because it is a journey where we have different activities that have to be implemented on several years. I've talked about the infrastructure. We cannot say it is a reform that was a basic need. But I see the reform in the way we teach. We've just talked about the competence-based curricula that was introduced early 2016. But also, currently we are looking into our programs that are offered at higher learning institutions to see if they are really making impact. Here I talk about graduates. When they go out, when they graduate, are they really fitting within the needs of the labor market? So we are trying to review our program so that we can have graduates that are really bringing impact in order to be a knowledge-based economy as a country. But also, another choice that the government has made is to increase the number of those joining technical and vocational training. And much also has been invested into that because you know that we are also promoting innovations. And most of the innovations, the startups we are seeing today are coming from those polytechnics or TVET schools. That's why the government invested a lot into the technical and vocational educational training. That is why we are investing a lot in providing tools and mainly to our teachers so that they can be able to use those tools as well, because they cannot use technology in teaching if they are not able to use different tools and programs that are currently on the market.
Actually a gap in EdTech that has produced gaps in learning outcomes, and that is children were more versed with technology than teachers were.
Yes.
So especially during COVID, this is the gap that was noticed, that is how to ensure that teachers are able to transition towards EdTech also. So what is the goal there when it comes to the Education Ministry? How do you look at it in terms of building resilience in education for the times that lie ahead, not just with respect to a pandemic, but also the changing times, the way we look at education, the way we want to receive it, the way we want to impart it?
Yeah, as a ministry, we are, as I said, we are investing in teacher training, ICT skills, And that goes together with providing tools and equipment for teachers and students as well, but also increase the capacity, I mean internet connectivity, because all these need internet connectivity. We are also working on that aspect, but also we are partnering with different international organizations who might be useful for us. You've seen that some schools are partnering with Samsung, others we are partnering with Google. So technology is not something that you can do in isolation. So we have to get strong partners in that in order to be able to really boost and advance in technology as we want. But also we are introducing new programs. I talked about the review, but there are those programs that we still have gap in terms of human capacity. When we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, the artificial intelligence, the communication skills, because we've seen that that aspect, there is a big gap in communicating what they know, I mean among our students. So we are also working on that to see what are the current and emerging technologies that we have to bring in the country. You know that we have Rwanda Coding Academy, where we select best performers in living student, O-level living students who do coding, software development, programming, because that's the move. And in industry today, automation is very key. That's why you see robotics and so on. So we are investing a lot in those emerging technologies, because that is the move, not only in Rwanda, but worldwide.
So what kind of education model would Rwanda continue to follow, or will it constantly adapt in terms of, will it be more public or more privatized? Rwanda also just a little less than a decade ago merged all its public institutions in higher education. How has these things impacted, and looking at that, how would you approach this in the future?
For Rwanda attracts always investors, and education was not left behind. So we keep investing in public schools as government, but we also attract investors in the country. We have Carnegie Mellon, we have AIMS, we have ALU. University of Rwanda today is trying to partner with Kent State University in the US. There is Coventry University. So we keep attracting those international universities that are highly ranking in the world, so that we can send students in those universities if they become local universities, it will be cheaper for our students to join those universities. So as a country, we don't only work with public institutions, but we also attract best universities. And recently we also partnered with NTU of Singapore. So we try to partner with whoever has more to offer to us. We have so many international students here in Rwanda. I mentioned those international universities that we have, but also University of Rwanda has so many students coming from African countries. So it is attractive to come to Rwanda, but also we have to, that is why we said we want to improve the quality in order to attract more students to join our universities, not only private but also public university.
Now, if we look at some sectors contribute more to the GDP and the economy and the overall well-being of the nation in comparison to others, for example, agriculture, tourism, and now ICT is of course up and coming. But so when you go out to decide budgets for these different areas of education, what remains your prime focus for the next 10 years? Because looking at a knowledge-based economy, that's where Rwanda wants to reach. But the current population is mainly employed by agriculture. So how would you tackle that?
Vision 2050 has those priority sectors. Agriculture is among them. We have tourism. We have, I might not remember all of them, but we have a list of priority sectors that we invest in. There's also tourism and hospitality. So it is, when we plan for budget, there are those priorities. And in the Vision 2050, we have also short-term 2035, and we set target of where we are today and where we want to be in the next 15 years and then in 2050. So we always allocate budget based on those targets, because when we do planning and budgeting, we base on the existing strategy and policies, and mainly the NST one that was 7 years from 2017 to 2024, but today we have 2050. That was, we have targets. We didn't plan targets for 30 years. We said, where will we be in 2035? And again, we will evaluate ourselves and see if we've reached what we planned for. If not, we will take other measures. But always budget goes hand in hand with what we have in our key policy documents.
I cannot end this interview without asking you, Rwanda's policies are very much aligned with sustainability, and there are great efforts being made. There's a long journey ahead, but the efforts are in the right direction, as most people would agree. So how do you think education can also help drive this, the sustainable movement through, again, you mentioned the curriculum reform that happened way back in 2016. It also included developing practical skills and especially entrepreneurial skills. So a combination of these, how is this driving sustainability?
I think education is at the center of everything, because every aspect of the policy relies on the skilled people to help achieving those goals and targets. So that's why I'm saying education is at the center, and that is why we have also targets in the policy related to education in order to achieve other targets for other sectors. So always education at the center, and that is why in the Vision 2050 is about quality education. Because when we started this discussion, I talked about the investment that were made. Now it's time to make return. Return will come from skilled people, and skilled people must be well trained with quality, and they will be the ones to go on the market and then bring up the economy of the country.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too for inviting me.
Strategic and calculated investments in the education sector has drawn structural benefits as well as financial returns in many nations that today enjoy universal access to education, something that Rwanda aims to achieve by 2050. You were with me, Ridhima Shukla, and we were joined by the Minister of Education, Government of Rwanda, Dr. Valentine. Thank you for watching.